Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning from Sydney, Australia. It is Wednesday morning here, which means, of course, it is day hump of our February Boost Camp. Is week 2. It is the middle of the week, so it's day hump day for our February Boost Camp. If you are on Boost Camp, please let me know how you have been going. How have you been getting on? How have you been finding it, especially if it's your first Boost Camp? And also would love to know whether you're enjoying these little lives that I'm doing as well. I like to share a lot of information. I like to dive into the science, as many of you guys know, and today will be no exception, because today what I thought we would talk about is another little topic that's very close to my heart. And it's when food has the added bonus of not just being delicious, but it also happens to be really healing for our body as well. So we're going to be talking about the top 5 foods that are healing, and we're going to ask that question: are you eating those top 5 foods? And we talk about why they're healing. So why are they top according to science? Why are these some of the best foods that you can eat? They can help to heal your body. Why are they healing? Yeah. And also how often you should be eating them. So it's going to be a really cool topic today as we're getting into it. And something pretty exciting for us to have a chat about. Now, yesterday I did a live cooking class, and I did a pickle cooking class. If anyone saw that, I'm not sure if anyone saw my pickle cooking class. Let me know in the comments if you managed to catch me for that live pickle cooking class. And one of the reasons why I was doing a live pickle cooking class, because I wanted to talk to you guys about probiotic and prebiotic foods. So I talked a lot yesterday about, of course, our Pure As inulin powder, which is a dietary fiber. It is a prebiotic. So it's the pink one. It's the one there on the left-hand side. And talking about just the incredible health benefits of inulin powder and why. What many people don't know, inulin powder was the very first healthy ingredient that we actually sold here at Bridget's Healthy Kitchen. So many years ago, just to give you guys a bit of a story about why we decided to stock inulin powder, is one of the things that I really like to do as a chef and as a nutritionist is to play around with and experiment with different types of ingredients. Because one of the things I know as a nutritionist is we all need to have a very diverse range of gut bacteria that call us home. And in order to get that very diverse range of gut bacteria, we need to have a diverse diet. So then the foods that we are regularly consuming need to be all mixed up. We can't just eat the same thing all the time, because that will lead to a very limited group of bacteria that call you home. And to be really healthy and to make sure that your body is in tip-top condition at all times, we need to eat a very wide range of foods. So I like to play around with ingredients. I really do. And one of the ingredients that first came across my kitchen bench was inulin powder. So the pink one on the left just there. And I was absolutely blown away at the health benefits of inulin powder, like really, really blown away. So much so that I started buying inulin powder from a company based up in Queensland. Some of you may know this story that I'm about to share, but this is literally what got us into the food business, into the selling of food business, as I was promoting this inulin powder because I've found it and I had recognized that not only was it like a supplement, so it was a prebiotic dietary fiber. So it does all the amazing things, like it will help to feed your healthy gut bacteria, right? Inulin powder. It's one of the best prebiotics you can buy on the market. And the one that I researched as having the most highest prebiotic quality. So if you really want to get bang for your buck, which who doesn't these days, right? You want to make sure that your products are great. If you want to get bang for your buck, you want to have the best prebiotics, you had to get a type of inulin powder that was made from chicory root. So I was able to locate a company based up in Queensland that was selling inulin powder. And so I started buying it. I started testing it in recipes because, yes, you can use it as a supplement. You can take it straight off a teaspoon and you can literally eat it as a supplement. You can put it into your coffee or your tea to slightly sweeten it because it's got a sweet flavor. It's really good for helping to lower cholesterol. It's good for blood glucose regulation or management. It's good for weight loss. It's good for so many different things. I mean, it even helps, and I love this about it. It helps your body to absorb calcium better. And this is really important because for women, as we get older, we lose some of the quality of our bone density. So that's just a natural part of aging, especially for females. So, we run the risk of developing osteoporosis as we're getting older. And also, if we trip, if we fall, and it's a lot easier for us to fracture our bones too. So bone health is really important for everyone, but especially for women as we age. And I'm talking about from age 30, we should be really looking at our calcium intake. So inulin powder helps the body to absorb calcium. And of course, the type of calcium that we like to get, and I'll be talking about this today in the top 5 healing foods, calcium from other sources outside of the normal that we all grew up believing, which was the best quality source of calcium was dairy. We now know that that's not true. So we can get calcium in lots of other foods, and it's actually better for our body. Our body can take it in better from these types of foods. And if you're incorporating inulin powder into your nutritional intake, you also get that benefit, that calcium and inulin powder, and it go hand in hand. So inulin powder helps calcium to be absorbed. So fabulous ingredient, right? Fabulous ingredient. And so I was importing or getting product delivered from a company up in Queensland, and everything was going fine, right? I wasn't selling food. We didn't feel the need to. We were just recommending that people get the product from a company up in Queensland because they had the pure chicory, which was the best quality prebiotics. To cut a long story short, Mahe and I were in Singapore visiting a friend, and I got sent a Facebook message from someone to say, have you seen this news article? And it was an article based on this company where I've been getting my inulin from and recommending it to our entire community. The company in question had started replacing the inulin powder with pure glucose powder. And they got caught and they got charged and they had to go to court. And it was a massive court trial, and the police had busted them that it had been discovered that they had been selling inulin powder. But instead of selling inulin powder, they were selling the cheaper and more dangerous pure glucose powder, basically pure sugar. So you had people like myself that were using inulin powder as a sugar replacement, as a healthy, incredibly healthy, gut healthy product. And we were actually doing the opposite. So I went straight home, and kind of the community freaked out. Everyone just completely and utterly freaked out at this news. So as soon as we got home, I remember we were on a bus tour of Singapore. It was our first time in Singapore. And we were on a bus tour, and we didn't even look at what we were supposed to look at on the tour. We were both head down on our phone, literally trying to work out what the heck happened. We were so horrified that we had recommended this company and they had been selling us glucose. And we know what glucose is to our blood sugars, right? So I don't even know how long it was going on. At that time, I probably had about 5 kilos of their product in my house. And we were freaking out. So we got back to Sydney. I went and got some blood glucose testing strips, the ones that you pee on a strip and it tests how much glucose is in your blood. People who are on keto use it, people who are diabetic use it, even pregnant women use it as well to make sure that, we're keeping that area, we're keeping an eye on how much glucose is in our blood. I tested our glucose, and sure enough, I tested the inulin, and sure enough, it was pure glucose. So we got a little bit upset. And because we felt for our community, we felt for ourselves, and we felt for our community. We're completely and utterly horrified that this has happened. Not that we had any control of it, but we decided to look into getting our own inulin powder because obviously, this company that had been selling the inulin powder, they just could not be trusted. So we shopped around. It took us some time. In the meantime, we were buying an inferior quality of inulin, but it was the only one that we could get, inulin powder we could get at the time. I was testing it every time I got it in, and so it wasn't the most ideal thing that we're getting, but it was a workaround. So it took us, I think, around about 6 to 9 months to find a product that we could put our backing behind. And that's why we called our product, by the way, this is where the name came from. This is why we called our product Pure As Inulin Powder, because of the horrible occasion where we were getting glucose sent to us or really inferior quality inulin powder. So nowhere near as good in health benefits, nowhere near as tasty, nowhere near as cloud-free. So a lot of the inferior inulin powders, like, there's still some prebiotic quality, not as good as the chicory. Chicory will always be the best. It is the best inulin prebiotic quality that you can purchase. So we're getting inferior inulin. It was making all my pickles go cloudy. I was getting very upset. Like, not just cloudy, but like chunky. Like the liquid would go really thick. And I just thought, I can't have this anymore. So we finally discovered an inulin powder that comes all the way from Belgium. It is Pure As. It is 100% chicory. It has all the best health benefits that I've talked about. And we started selling that. And I did a class on it last night. I did a pickle class. I made my my pickled zucchini, which I am really looking forward to having as part of my breakfast this morning. I also showed you guys how quick and easy it is to make pickled onions, because for a lot of people who are starting off on Boost Cap, they're like, oh, it's too hard, it's too difficult. I'm like, no, it's not. All you need is our Pure As amazing inulin powder, and then, you know, some apple cider vinegar or a type of vinegar, and you are pretty much 3/4 to nearly, 5 or 7/8 of the way there to making your own pickles. You just need to add the vegetables. It's so quick and easy to make. So I made 3 pickles yesterday in our class, and it was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. And as I'm making these pickles and I'm thinking about the healing quality of inulin powder and fiber syrup, because our fiber syrup, by the way, also comes from 100% chicory root. So to make fiber syrup, they just mix chicory root, which is a vegetable, with water. That's how they make the fiber syrup. And it's the process with the inulin powder, obviously a bit different because it's a powder and not a liquid. But that's all that's in these products. There's 2 ingredients: chicory root and water. That is it. Right? That is it. There's no preservatives, there's no additives, there's no nasties, there's no thickeners, there's no emulsifiers. There is nothing but 2 ingredients: water and chicory root. That is it. So I'm really proud of our products, and that's why I wanted to do a cooking class on it. And I'm really proud of the health benefits, and I'm really proud that we have maintained that. And that was literally the start of our journey to providing you guys with food that you can purchase, so you don't have to go anywhere else and go looking for it, because inulin powder is quite hard, difficult to find. Fiber syrup is almost impossible to find, especially the quality that we sell, especially the quality. So just a bit of a warning for you guys. We were meant to be pumping some more fiber syrup next week. But because of the cyclone, the tropical cyclone Alfred, which is about to hit the coast of Australia, the eastern coast of Australia, up in Queensland, northern New South Wales, which is just looking even more diabolical as we speak. It's going to be a very dangerous weather system. The bottles that we use to put the syrup into are the companies based in Queensland, so there's going to be a massive delay on that. I'm pretty sure we've got about 100 bottles of fiber syrup left in store right now. But if you think you might run out in the next 2 to 3 weeks, I highly recommend that you go in there and you purchase some now from our store, because I cannot guarantee supply, because of, obviously, we're going to have, like, our problem is so non-existent compared with people who are facing this storm, head on. it's really quite frightening to do with even the flooding potential, even after the eye of the cyclone has moved on, but just the amount of water that's going to be dropped. So there's going to be some disruption to supply there. So if you think you might run out, I highly recommend you go in there now and secure your fiber syrup. Of course, get in there and get you some inulin, make some pickles. Like I'm kind of in this, I'm in this, I need to preserve things headspace right now. So if the thing I love about pickles is if you have things in abundance, so it's summer, so that's why I did zucchini pickles, because people say, what do I do with all my zucchinis? I'm like, my gosh, pickle and preserve them. So then you've got them there, for months and months and months when zucchini gets really ridiculously expensive. But it's the same for any type of, vegetable that you may find is at a really good price right now. One of the things that we do know, and that's why I'm like, buy up your inulin, buy up your fiber syrup. One of the things that we do know is that, there is potential for food prices to go up as we get further into this year. There's obviously a massive trade war going on with other countries around the world where the countries, where this part of the world, Australia, New Zealand, and other parts that aren't currently all, tied up in what is going to be a bit of a downturn in the global economy. I can't imagine that we're going to be unaffected. So I'm really into preserving right now. I'm going to preserve whatever I can. If I see something vegetables that's cheap, I am buying it in bulk. And I am preserving it, and I am making sure that, just like our grandparents and even my parents used to do, which was when things were seasonally at their best and in abundance and cheap, or they were getting it from their garden often, they would preserve everything for the leaner months. And I just got this kind of feeling that we might be coming into some leaner months. So just, get in there and grab your things that are really good for making pickles and preserves. And of course, our inulin powder is that. And as I was saying, I'm not sure about how we're going to go with the supply of fiber syrup over the next couple of weeks, just because of logistics as well. So, I'm sending out all my well wishes to our Queensland, Northern New South Wales friends, and also to our suppliers that are based up there. Our dark chocolate comes from Queensland, so we're just hoping that everyone stays safe. And if you need to get out, right? Don't wait it out. It's going to be a pretty I'm not going to say unusual, because this is quite an unprecedented storm coming across, but it's going to be a very, worrying couple of days up in that part of the world. So before I get into our topic for today, which is our top 5 healing foods, I want to say a quick good morning to Meg, who's joining us from Newcastle. Also to Francesca, joining us from Perth. Good morning to Ada as well. I've got Adele. Stephanie's joining us. Tracy as well. Who's basically, and she's in LAX, or she's in Los Angeles. Good morning. I think it'd be afternoon over there, wouldn't it? To Tracy. LJ's joining us. Karen as well. We've got Meryl and Christine and Ruth. And good evening to Martina, joining us all the way from the Black Forest in Germany. I can see Christine and Letitia and Anita as well, and also Louise. So good morning, ladies. It looks like we're all ladies here today. There might be some gentlemen joining us. If you are, good morning to you as well. So our main topic for today is all about healing foods. And as I was saying, doing my inulin, style cooking class last night, pickled cooking class, I was thinking about other foods that have healing properties. We like to call these foods functional foods because they have more than one function in our body. Yes, they give us nutrients and they give us vitamins and minerals and all those wonderful things. But they also, taste pretty delicious. So they keep us feeling good and satisfied. They help to build muscle and repair. But they also have this amazing quality to help with healing processes, whether it be those healing of those muscles, or whether it be just keeping our heart healthy, our brain healthy, and our weight managed as well. Because one of the major conditions that we now face as a global society is that we're really looking down the barrel of an obesity epidemic. And when we have such high amounts of obesity related, conditions, we also have obesity related illness and disease, which, by the way, is what kills more people prematurely than any other disease or illness. It's linked to the foods that we regularly eat. So we need to know, what are the top 5 healing foods, right? These are the types of foods. These are the types of foods that science has identified, because you know me, I always like to do the science. It's all about the science for me. So science has identified like these top 5 healing foods I'm going to share with you guys today, because they're packed with nutrients. So they're nutrient dense. If you ever hear me say, oh, we're eating nutrient dense food, that's because these are the types of foods that are really healing, right? Nutrient dense food. They're also packed with antioxidants. So they have the ability to go into our body and to help to remove any of the free radicals, which is kind of like almost like toxins that are floating around, and they help to get rid of those toxins naturally from our body. So they're antioxidant, and they have these compounds in them, these bioactive compounds, which means our body can utilize these compounds for that support we need when it comes to, overall health, that support our body needs when it comes to the reduction of inflammation, and that support our body needs to help to keep our weight managed, so we don't run the risk of having these chronic illnesses and diseases that have been caused by carrying excessive weight, which will mean we put pressure on our heart, we put pressure on our joints, we put pressure on our digestive system, we put pressure on our brain, we put pressure on every single organ in our body when we are carrying excessive weight, because of the danger that is involved with that excessive weight. So these are the healing foods that science has. Love science. You guys know me, love a bit of science. That science has identified as being the top 5. I'm giving you guys the top 5 healing foods. So food number 1, I've got a bit of something to show you here. So food number 1, are you ready? Food number 1 is our dark leafy greens. That's right, our dark leafy greens, which is very exciting, because what that means for us is we have a variety, even a couple of different dark leafy greens. We've got spinach down there. Those are beetroot leaves. Oh, it's looking a bit manky, one of those, but cut that little bit off. It doesn't look quite as nice. But we've got our dark leafy greens. We've got our kale as well. But let's not forget, I think there's spinach there. Yeah, there's spinach there. There's also those wonderful Asian greens that we can find in our Asian supermarket. They've got some lovely ones. There is different types of spinach as well. And the one that I'm really fond of, really, really like, is the old silver beet. Used to eat a lot of silver beet when I was a kid. So really happy to see that, there are some massive health benefits when it comes to silver beet. So what is it about these health benefits? Like, what makes them so incredibly good when it comes to our dark leafy greens? So one of the number one things that we can be really happy with when it comes to our dark leafy greens is, as I was saying, completely full of antioxidants and anti-inflammatory, and the things that those vitamins, those density of vitamins and minerals, things like, vitamins A, vitamin C, which is really important, of course, vitamin K, also known as potassium. But there's minerals in there that makes these dark leafy greens good, like high in iron. I know, right? Who would have thought that dark leafy greens are high in iron? High in calcium, which I talked about before, and the importance of protecting our bone health as we age. So we've got iron and calcium, and the other great mineral that you will find in abundance in our dark leafy greens is our magnesium. And magnesium is responsible for over 600 different mechanisms working in our body. 600. Magnesium is like a super mineral. It's also an electrolyte. And so we're getting all these amazing things inside our dark leafy greens. So we're talking about it supporting the health of our heart. We're talking about them helping to lower blood pressure and also helping to manage cholesterol levels. So if someone come to me and said, I've got high cholesterol and high blood pressure, I'll be like, right, we need to get into our dark leafy greens because it absolutely supports the health of our heart. We're also talking about, helping to heal some chronic diseases and illnesses as well. There are certain types of cancers that have been shown that just the improvement of nutrition and having these 5 healing foods, especially, and our leafy greens, spinach, kale, silver beet, all that sort of beautiful stuff, lovely Asian dark green vegetables as well. They all show that they have some positive healing properties when it comes to our ability to fight back against cancerous cells. We're also talking about bone health, as I was saying, because of course we've got that wonderful vitamin K and calcium in there. And our dark leafy greens improve digestion. So it helps to keep your digestive system healthy, which in turn helps with weight management. So dark leafy greens is our number one food. And I'm a fan. I'm an absolute fan of dark leafy greens. So here is number 2. Fatty fish. So when it comes to our fatty fish, what I'm talking about here is primarily these smaller ocean-bound food items like our salmon or our mackerel. Also, sardines is a great example of a fatty fish. I got to say, salmon and mackerel are probably my 2 favorites. Sardine comes in a pretty close third. I also love anchovies. Now, these types of fatty fish, the reason why they are so incredibly good at healing is they are an excellent, and I mean excellent, source of omega-3 fatty acids. And for many of you, you've probably heard me talking about omega-3 fatty acids quite often. Now, why are omega-3 fatty acids so incredibly important or vital in our diet? Making fatty fish like one of those food items that we should be consuming at least 2 to 3 times a week. And yes, it can be fresh, but I also consume tinned mackerel, I love, in olive oil, tinned sardines in olive oil as well, anchovies that are done in olive oil. So, yes, fresh is best, but you can get away with tinned ones as well if you need to. Now, the reason why omega-3 fatty acids are so vital in our diet is because they are essential, and I will use that word and I'll say it again. They are essential for brain and heart health. So they also, by the way, are a great source of protein, which we need. They are high in vitamin D and also selenium, which is a really, really important compound for our overall health. So those omega-3 fatty acids will help to reduce inflammation and will absolutely lower the risk of heart disease. And that's what I'm saying, 2 to 3 times a week. It will lower your risk of heart disease. It will support your brain health, support the ability for your brain to get rid of built up inflammation in there. And our fatty fish, or our omega-3 fatty fish, have also been shown to reduce the risk of depression and cognitive decline. So it's essential for brain health because it will help to fight back against the diseases and the illnesses that affect the brain that are so incredibly common now. And I'm talking about Alzheimer's dementia. I'm talking about Parkinson's disease. I'm talking about stroke. Heck, I'm even just talking about that start when you just think to yourself, I'm losing my memory. I can't remember stuff. I've got brain fog. Our fatty fish will help to keep our brain healthy. Fatty fish will also promote joint health and reduce symptoms of arthritis. When it comes to joint health, what we're talking about there is because omega-3 fatty acids are an excellent anti-inflammatory food. So they help to get rid of any built-up inflammation, whether it be in the brain or in the joints. So we're talking about reducing symptoms of arthritis, improving and promoting joint health. And guess what else they're really good for? Pretty much think of your fatty fish as your beauty cream in a food item that you eat. So you'll basically be eating your beauty routine because fatty fish have been shown to improve skin health by maintaining moisture and also that lovely elasticity, like keep you more youthful longer. And as I was saying, 2 to 3 times a week is when you should be eating our number 2 healing food, which is our fatty fish. All right, here we go. Number 3. All right, nuts and seeds are next on the list. So I am talking about walnuts. I am talking about almonds. I'm talking about chia seeds. Yes, that is a seed. I'm talking about flax seeds and pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds. I'm talking about nuts and seeds that are rich in healthy fats, and we all need healthy fats in our diet. They also contain some protein. They have fiber. They have vitamins and minerals like magnesium and zinc. And yes, they're also antioxidants. So they have so many incredible benefits for our body, so many incredible benefits, including, again, supporting our heart health by improving cholesterol levels. And at the same time, they are anti-inflammatory, so help to reduce inflammation. They are a great weight management aid or weight loss aid when had in moderation. You don't want to have too much, but when had in moderation, because they help to promote satisfaction or satiety. So you just feel full, you feel satisfied when you've had, a bit of a handful of nuts if you wanted to snack instead of having a chocolate biscuit. Definitely a lot more satisfying. Nuts and seeds are also really good for our gut health. So they improve gut health. And that's thanks to the fiber content, because what do our gut bacteria like to eat? They like to eat fiber. So they're great for maintaining and managing and looking after the health of our gut. And they've got all these essential nutrients in them that provide just support for our brain. And here's a great one for, especially for females, is they help with hormonal balancing as well. So lots of really good things. And when it comes to nuts and seeds, again, moderation is the key with how many you're going to be having here. I like to either have some nuts or seeds in a little bread that I've made. So I've had a slice of bread a day, or a bread roll that I've made using them. I also like to use them as a bit of a sprinkle on salads, and things along those lines. Even fresh vegetables, I'll make up a little nut and seed mixture that I'll sprinkle onto things, into gut healing bowls. But if you must snack, then that is a way to snack. But just make sure it's a portion, should fit into the palm of your hand, because moderation is key when it comes to nuts and seeds. Because yes, the fats are healthy, but you can have too much, right? So we just got to be in moderation here. But that's something I'll be eating some type of nut or seed every single day, just in moderation. So I think that was number 3, wasn't it? Yes, it was. All right, here we go. Yes, it was. Number 4. Are you ready? Yes, the berries. Who doesn't love fresh or even frozen berries? Look, I'm partial to both. I really don't mind. And when I'm talking about berries, I'm talking about, what do we see in that image? We've got blueberries there, of course. We've got blackberries. I do love blackberries. I think I grew up picking wild blackberries off the blackberry bramble bush as a child. So I do love blackberries. We've got raspberries there, strawberries, of course. We've got there those little red ones there. I can't remember the name of them. The little ones? Can anyone remember what those little ones are? I think I can also see, is that just a different type of strawberry there? Or is that a mulberry? Can someone tell me? Is that a mulberry? Yeah, I'm not sure. I'd love to hear your take on that. There you go. I put up an image of berries. I'm like, what berry is that? And as I was saying, it doesn't matter when it comes to berries whether they are fresh, ideally fresh, but they're not always the cheapest, or whether they are frozen. Because a lot of in order to freeze berries effectively, they need to be snap frozen, so quickly frozen, which means that they lock in. The snap freezing actually locks in all the goodness. And why are they healing? They're healing because they're loaded with antioxidants. So remember, they remove toxins. So they're anti-toxin, basically. They're also very, very high in these types of nutrients that you find in plants called polyphenols. And in fact, the darker the berry, the better the quality. Is anyone else? I'm just looking at the comments here. Wild strawberry. Letitia's saying that's a little one. Okay, yeah, and that's not a mulberry. You are right. Cranberries. I don't think those red ones are cranberries. Those little ones are cranberries. Debbie, they're another one very common in Europe. I see them all the time in Europe. Someone said currants. No, they're not currants. Yeah, well, anyway, I've seen them. What are they? Gosh, someone's gonna know. Someone's gonna know. I think Martina might know. She's in Europe. You definitely get a lot of fresh punnets of berries in Europe. In fact, I remember seeing these in Germany. I was in Berlin one time and I saw a punnet of them. And I bought them and they were absolutely delicious. And I can't remember the name. I can't remember the name. So here we go. Berries. Why are they so good for us? And just letting Carly know, I'm going to get to your comment soon about fish, Carly. I won't avoid that. It's a really good comment. I will be getting into that in a second, so don't go anywhere. I'll be answering that comment. So when it comes to berries, what makes them so good is, as I was saying, they're high in antioxidants, so they remove toxins. They are particularly high in this plant-based nutrient known as a polyphenol. In fact, the darker the berry, the higher the polyphenol count. High in vitamin C, and there's also fiber in berries as well. So because we've got these wonderful reasons of why they heal, the key reasons why they heal is because they reduce inflammation. So they're anti-inflammatory, and in reducing inflammation, because remember, where inflammation gathers and lives, there is a higher risk of chronic diseases forming. So whether that's inflammation in the brain, you're at higher risk of developing cognitive brain disorders like Alzheimer's, dementia, stroke, Parkinson's, even brain fog, right? If inflammation is gathering in the joints, we know that we are a lot more at risk of developing arthritis. So where inflammation lives, even if that inflammation is building up in the gut, which is another very common place to find inflammation, majority of people who eat a poor diet, who are eating all the stuff, all the processed stuff, they've got an inflamed gut. And that long-term inflammation of the gut lining can lead to leaky gut syndrome, IBS, IBD, Crohn's disease, and all manner of conditions that run that entire length of the gut. So inflammation is dangerous. We need to make sure we're eating foods that naturally reduce and eliminate inflammation from that buildup, so we're not at higher risk of having these illnesses. Berries are also really good at improving brain health, as we've been talking about, and they've been shown in studies that they may even help to delay cognitive decline. So you really will be supporting your brain when you're eating those wonderful polyphenol-rich berries. Remember, the darker the berry, the more polyphenols. Berries are also amazing at supporting the health of your heart, which is very important, and it can help to improve cholesterol levels and even help just the functioning of the blood vessels. So amazing, right? Just incredibly supportive when it comes to your heart health, and probably the reason why I'm really keen on them. I mean, I love the brain health, I love the heart health, I love the anti-inflammatory qualities, but it can also help to manage your blood sugar response. So blood glucose, blood sugar regulation, it helps with that. And so they're actually really beneficial for someone who is looking to lower their blood sugar naturally, prevent the onset of diabetes, or if you are diabetic, either pre-diabetic or type 2 diabetic, and you want to heal yourself of diabetes as well, berries are a great food that can help with that. Now, how do you eat them? Again, I normally go for about a half of cup of berries for that's a serve of berries. I will eat that as my fruit because I only do one serve of fruit a day, and often you'll find me having berries either fresh or frozen that I've defrosted. I had blueberries last night on a little waffle that I made. I'm recipe testing for our next boost camp right now. And we had frozen blueberries in the fridge, which I just defrosted in a little pan, put a little bit of inulin powder over them. Happy days, absolutely gorgeous. But of course, you enjoy the berries how you want. Some people even put them in salads, which is delicious, and in gut healing bowls. So that is our berries, and that was number 4. So what is the final number 5 healing ingredient that we're talking about? And like I said, I'll get into answering some questions straight after this because I see there's got some great questions there. So the food number 5. So healing food number 5 is, here we go, turmeric. So turmeric, if no one's ever seen, we're all really familiar with the powder, right? You see turmeric powder, in all the stores, all the supermarkets, spice, we all know what that looks like. We also know that it's bright, bright yellow, and too much can stain parts of your body. Like if you get on your fingers, it can stain wooden chopping boards, it can stain wooden spoons. So it's got a pretty impressive color ability there. But if you hadn't, this is what just behind the powder, you can actually see fresh turmeric roots. So that's what it looks like. And look, you know what? Grating fresh turmeric into food is absolutely wonderful. It is so incredibly nice. So what makes turmeric our number 5 top healing food? Now, it has multiple benefits. And the reason why it is so incredibly good or healthy for us is that turmeric contains curcumin. So not to be mistaken for cumin, curcumin. And it's this curcumin, which is a powerful, really powerful anti-inflammatory compound. It is also a very powerful antioxidant compound. So we're talking anti-inflammatory, we're talking antioxidants, and believe it or not, turmeric has been used for hundreds and hundreds of years, for centuries in traditional medicine. And it's now finally been backed by modern science. Science has caught up to what traditional medicine has known for centuries. And we now know that this curcumin that is naturally available in turmeric is so incredibly powerful as an anti-inflammatory and also an antioxidant. And as we've spoken about already, why do we need anti-inflammatory foods in our diet? Because of all the healing potential of getting rid of built up inflammation. Why do we need antioxidant foods in our diet? Because antioxidants actually remove toxins from our body as well. So some of the key benefits for our wonderful turmeric or our curcumin loaded turmeric is reduces chronic inflammation. Reduces chronic inflammation. So it should be something we should be having often, right? We should be having some type of turmeric in our food 4 to 5 times a week because it reduces chronic inflammation. And as we've said, chronic inflammation is linked to disease and illness. So it reduces chronic inflammation, gets rid of it. Yay! It also helps to support, again, the health of our joints. When our joints are healthy, we move more. We're more mobile. We're more freed up. So it improves and supports joint health and may even help to get rid of or to fight back against the symptoms of arthritis. So again, really, really important with joints. Turmeric is also really helpful when it comes to the health of our brain. And again, can protect our brain against those cognitive diseases, Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, stroke. Turmeric is also very good for the liver functioning and that detoxification of the liver. Now, I'm speaking from experience here. I had fatty liver disease. I started to do my research, as many of you know, when I first started my health journey, over 8 years ago, and turmeric was high on my list. I love a good curry. That's how I get a lot of my turmeric powder into my diet, as I'm very, very keen on a lovely, well-balanced curry. But also, I've just created, and this is for the last boost camp, which, by the way, was an anti-inflammatory boost camp. I've created our turmeric chai latte. So now I'm having that because it's delicious. So really good for the liver, really good for the detoxification of the liver. And turmeric can also help to boost and support our immune system. And some studies have even shown that turmeric has anti-cancer properties. So you can see why it's healing. And again, how do we have it? Curries, soups. Just make sure, of course, when you are using turmeric, that you're using black pepper at the same time, because that really does help to enhance the curcumin absorption, which is that bioactive compound which makes turmeric so good. So you want to be able to absorb the curcumin from it. And you do that with that little bit of a grinding of fresh black pepper goes into there as well. So, when it comes to turmeric, don't be afraid, 4 to 5 times a week. This stuff is good. This stuff is healing. This stuff is absolutely amazing. And it rounds up our top 5 healing foods. And now you can see why. We're talking major anti-inflammatory benefits. We're talking major antioxidant benefits. We're talking nutrient dense. And of course, we're also talking about gut health at the same time. These are some like the pillars of good health, good weight management, good joint health, good brain health, good heart health. And we get to do it by eating all these delicious foods. So, if you can get something from that list daily into your diet, ideally more often, you are absolutely winning. Now, I've got a few questions that I'm going to be answering. I did see. Now, give me a second, guys. Now, this question was from, here we go. All right. Morning, Bridget. I normally dodge fish and olive oil, so it sounds like I shouldn't dodge them. You shouldn't be dodging that because olive oil is a healthy fat. I eat John West yellowfin tuna. Oh, Carly, can I just say vegetable oil is toxic. So that John West yellowfin tuna and smoked, that is like a triple whammy of really, really problematic food there. Firstly, vegetable oil is toxic. Your body doesn't even recognize it as food. It is highly inflammatory. And we've just talked about why you need to get rid of inflammation, right? Highly inflammatory. It builds up. It is just, the body just can't deal with it because vegetables should not be made into oil for a start. And it's just a toxic food substance that no human should be consuming. So there you go. Vegetable oil, forget about it. If you've got vegetable in your cupboard, anyone, don't give it away, throw it away. It's a toxin. It is an absolute neurotoxin. It is pro-inflammatory. So it's the opposite of good, right? So that's first thing. Yellowfin tuna is also potentially one of the worst fish that you could eat. The reason being is that tuna is a predatory fish. So it eats other little fish. That's what it eats. It doesn't eat plankton, it eats other fish. So it's consuming large amounts of other fish. And it also spends a very long time in the ocean, which means that the mercury load from tuna is not healthy. And mercury, again, is a neurotoxin. It will destroy your brain, cells in your brain. It will destroy your brain. So you want to avoid mercury at all costs. It is highly toxic, and our oceans are not healthy. So you've got these really old fish that have been going around consuming other fish, and they've got really high mercury loads. And because that yellowfin tuna that you're having is smoked, it's not smoked, my darling. They use nitrates to give it that smoked flavor. What are nitrates? Nitrates are carcinogenic, so they're cancer forming. And again, they are a poison. In fact, the World Health Organization said that nitrates were carcinogenic about 5 years ago. So it is, and they use the nitrates to preserve the food. They use the nitrates to give that smoky, flavor when they don't actually smoke it. And the nitrates are also there to color enhance the tuna as well. So tuna, avoid, like my darling, you need to throw that stuff away. I mean, I don't like throwing food away, but this is one of the worst things that you could possibly do. Everyone avoid anything smoked in a can. It's not smoked. I'm telling you now, it's nitrates. Avoid tuna, mercury, avoid vegetable oil, toxic, all of those three things. So I'm glad you asked that question, that we could answer that. That's really important point. And remember this, what is olive oil? A healthy fat. What is olive oil? Monounsaturated. What is olive oil? Omega-3 fatty acids. What is olive oil? It is basically food for your brain, healthy food, healing food for your brain, and healing food for your heart. So olive oil for me, it's liquid gold. I only use olive oil in my cooking. Every now and then I'll use a bit of coconut oil, but coconut oil is a saturated fat. So I use that in very minuscule amounts. Usually if I have to bake something and I don't want the flavor of olive oil in there, I will use avocado oil, but avocado oil is quite expensive. So olive oil tends to be my go-to. And I like it. It tastes good and it's so good for you. It should be up there. It's like number 6 on my top 5 healing foods. Olive oil should be there as well. So that was from, have we got any other question? All right. So Melanite is just saying that for the first time you use gloves, right? When you're prepping the satay skewers because there was turmeric in there. Yeah, 100%. It is definitely, you'd want to avoid the stained fingers. Little story for you guys. Many years ago as a young chef, I was I was doused in fish guts and rotten eggs and anything that the kitchen could basically brew up in big 20-liter buckets. It was my final day as an apprentice chef in a hotel. I moved on to work in restaurants. So on my final day, they decided to get me back for being such a great chef, because I was an apprentice, but within, gosh, not even 6 months, I was running the kitchen. I was working the hotline and I came in there, and my first job was painting garlic bread with some horrible margarine and fake garlic mixture. That was my first hotels, right? That was my first job in the 90s, in the 1990s, in a proper commercial kitchen. And they decided to get me back because I was the only female as well. And I was 19 at the time. I was the only female. And they decided to get me back and we were friends by the end of it, like it wasn't a bad thing. It was just, silly chefs being silly chefs. They brewed these buckets of slop, and they'll just be putting like, the bottom of the bin juice in there for weeks. And they thought they were being hilarious. And they stored it in the production kitchen, which I would never go into because I was running the hotline in the restaurant kitchen, which was on the top floor, and the production kitchen was like down underneath in the basement. So I never went in there. It was in the production kitchen and in a corner of the refrigerator. And they were just putting all this stuff into it. But the last indignity that they did is they put like maybe half a bag of turmeric powder, and I'm talking a big commercial bag, not a little tiny one, like a 1 kilo bag, half a kilo of turmeric powder, and whisked it all up. And on my final day after service, after I'd finished working, and we were sitting out the back having a cigarette. I used to smoke then. Sitting out the back having a cigarette, as you do on milk crates, and I think I had a glass of beer or something like that in my hand. And one of them called me, so I stood up and I turned around, and as I did it, they splashed me with this slop. And yes, turmeric was in there, and they splashed me head to toe. There's probably like 3 buckets, and each chef who had run the other sections, they got they had the reward of slopping me. So I had the guy who was running the salad section, he slopped on me. I had the guy who was running the hot vegetable section, garde manger, he put his bucket of slop on me. And I had the guy who ran the pastry kitchen who did it as well. So hey, fun times. But because it was turmeric, I was bright orange for probably 2 weeks. Inside of my ears, I had yellow stained ears, all around my lips and my nostrils. Obviously, my hair as well, like my scalp was bright yellow. I was bright yellow. I had to go home on public transport too, by the way. Bright yellow. But the last thing they did, interesting part of the story, before I was able to go and have a shower, because luckily it was a big hotel, so we had staff showers. Well, maybe it was a bit unlucky, is they cracked eggs on my head. That was the last thing. So they did their slop buckets, and then every chef, including some of the commies that were there, the other apprentices, they just come and they cracked eggs over my head. Now, apparently I got off quite lightly. What they would normally do is take the chef out, get them really drunk, and then strip them down to their undies and pop them into a laundry cage that you find in hotels, which all the dirty laundry goes into, and then wheel them and leave them down the middle of the main street because we were right in a city hotel. So they reckon I got off lightly. But when they cracked the eggs on my head, when I went to have a hot shower, do you know where I'm going with this? The egg scrambled in my hair, and that took it smelled terrible. The smell was, and I had to sit on public transport. The smell was just unbelievable. It was so bad because it was weeks of slop, bin juice, fish guts, everything, like just stuff. It was horrible, rotten, disgusting things were in that. But then I was bright yellow for weeks, and I had scrambled eggs in my hair. I think it took a good 3 or 4 washes to get the scrambled egg out. And yeah, I had to catch some public transport home. But anyway, that's my story on turmeric. Thank you to Melanite for sharing her turmeric story. Yeah, I'm definitely watch those fingers as well. Definitely watch those fingers. So Adele. There you go. This is from Adele. I worked with a nurse from India, and she told me they quite often use turmeric as a healing agent in their hospitals. Like, we are talking traditional knowledge when it comes to these particular ingredients. Because nothing that I shared with you, those top 5, were things that weren't haven't been eaten for a very, very long time. But turmeric especially has been used as a, for medical conditions for centuries as a traditional medicine. And of course, we can eat our medicine. And that's what these healing foods are about. They are about eating our medicine. Someone's just saying they love mango ginger. I don't know what that is, Debbie. Mango ginger. Just be careful. Is it the ginger that you're talking about? Is it ginger? Or is it mango that's got ginger on it? Just be careful with mango. We also, if it's the fruit, because we know that mango, eating too much mango, it's like I haven't eaten a mango in years. I have to say, haven't eaten a mango in years because of the really high sugar that mango has. Mango is really, really high in sugar. Like, it is one of the highest sugar, glucose, fructose fruits that you can purchase and you can eat, or you can grow and eat. Unfortunately, as delicious as they are, it's one of the ones that I really stay away from. I had a mango slice, like dried mango slice, the other day, and I was having the naughtiest treat ever. Like, it was after my lunch. I just had one tiny little slice of dried mango, and it was just heavenly. But just be really careful, because mango, in fact, all the tropical fruits, very high in sugar. And of course, if we're having too much sugar, even natural sugars, we are holding on to inflammation. You know why inflammation's bad. We are holding on to fat. If fat loss is a goal, we need to reduce down the amount of fruit, especially tropical fruit, that we eat. Oh no, not a mango, so it must be ginger. But it was a great conversation about mangoes anyway. So thank you guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed today's little live session. A bit of a long one, but 5 healing foods deserves a bit of a breakdown, I reckon. So have a great day today, wherever you are in the world. And of course, to our family and our friends who are up in Queensland, up in northern New South Wales, be well and be incredibly safe. Look after yourself. Do everything that you know you need to do to weather the next couple of days. So we'll see you guys all again tomorrow. Have a fabulous day and have a wonderful hump day if you are on Boost Camp as well. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.